Okay, my friends, this is Roger once again, and today we're getting into the depths of the depths. What is this? This is a giant sinkhole in Russia, and they're all over the earth now. The earth is literally collapsing because of the withdrawal of the fluids, is my take on it. That's what I think. Now, and there was a bunch of articles about this saying how they're terrified that the gates of hell are opening up in Russia. So I did a video on the sinkholes because I actually literally talked to the Russians about this thing in 2015 when they first started noticing this. And they're still doing investigation about it. I know exactly what's going on, and I explained exactly in this entire video. It's 18 minutes, almost 19 minutes long. I never once mentioned the Russian angel. But everybody was saying, well, what about the Russian angel? I said, well, let me take a look. Which I had already looked at it, and I was on the fence about it. I don't like to be talking about things I really don't have enough information about, but there was so much response to that. I decided I would do a video on it. And I at this point, I still don't know. It looks very, very good, but there's so many people that are saying, oh no, that was a movie prop, and then another one said, oh, it was for a concert, and somebody else said it was just laying around somewhere. So nobody knows anything about that. So let's get past that. But today, I decided I would put this up, which is about, I'm just going to read to you what I put up, because I'm trying to make people take a look at their lives and look at what really life is about, basically. So I say I can only recommend, and this is what I recommend. Think truthfully. Don't just, if you see something, don't ignore it. Think truthfully and for yourself. Don't accept something anybody tells you. Even me, I don't care about, if you don't believe me, that's fine. I don't care about that. But you have to think for yourself. Now, I was told the statue is from a concert prop, it was laying around, it's a fake, all kinds of things, which is very possible. But as you see, there are others that are 100% certain they were giants frozen in time. And I show those, and I'll show them again today. No question whatsoever, they had creatures that were locked in stone as they were alive and in poses. So, let's get past that. Now, the Russian angel may be fake, and I never said it was sure that it was real. I never said that. I said I did an analysis, and without access, I can only speculate. You can only speculate unless you have it stuff in front of your hand, like a giant hair follicle, and I can put this under my microscope, and I can look at it, and I can test the anatomy. I could actually test the chemicals in here, but chemistry changes due to nucleophilic substitution. It's invasion. It puts new chemistry where other chemistry was that was biological. Think of it that way. It invades it and turns it to stone. I don't have that possibility to look at this angel with any capability to do that, to put it in my hands. So I have to look at it, and I couldn't find anything that I saw was obviously fake. I really couldn't. So I just said, well, I can't find anything that puts it in the realm of fakeness. All right, now, here's the problem, though. The Russian angel may be fake, and I never said I was sure it was real. I did an analysis, and without access, I can only speculate. Now, here's the thing. People that fake things and officials that ignore truth, like our universities, are literally the lowest of life forms. They use others with menticide. All right, you know what menticide is? They use menticide on kids, tell them they have to be educated and they have to say what we tell you to say, or we won't give you a piece of paper that says you're smart. They brainwash, conditioning people to abandon their beliefs, to abandon an effort to destroy the mind on the will of an individual or group of people. And that's what's happened. Universities do not like God or Jesus, or any spiritual thought, or any mythological, or any ancient text, because it threatens them. And they are self-centered. Literally 100% self-centered is what I found, which, as most people are. You have to be. You have to take care of yourself. But you should be able to engage in reality. And especially if your endeavor in life is to teach the truth, which is just not done. The universities, they lie, and they suppress relevant, unwanted results, which is the definition of fraud in academia. We now live in a nation where doctors destroy health, lawyers destroy justice, universities destroy knowledge, governments destroy freedom, the press destroys information, religion destroys morals, and our banks destroy the economy. This is by somebody called Chris Hedges. I looked him up. He's got some pretty interesting stuff. And this was another thing. A culture that does not grasp the vital interplay between morality and power. There's people that have power with no morality. And that is a destroyer. They can't grasp the interplay between morality and power, which mistakes management techniques for wisdom and fails to understand that the measure of a civilization is its compassion, not its speed or ability to consume, condemns itself to death. All right, same guy again. Now, right now, they're adjusting the interest rates and taking all the kids' money for their student loans and teaching them literally to lie about reality. They lie to them about reality. It's fraud now. I've been pushing this for 10, 12 years, showing my evidence, and it's been suppressed. Look up academic fraud. Look up, just put in investigating academic fraud. There's all kinds of academic fraud. Most of it is stealing somebody else's work or lying about what you did. And then there is the suppression of relevant, unwanted results. And that's the fraud that I have been a victim of. And I am a victim. And you are a victim. And it's time that we become unvictimized. Okay, so I decided I would address this angel situation. And again, I looked at it. I couldn't find anything that I could be 100% certain that it was fake. And I know there's 100% certain that there are petrified giant creatures on Earth right now that were from these days. So I ended up putting up the same statement here. I can only recommend da 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 da. And then I decided, well, this is pretty good text. So I would save it. And I'm thinking, where am I going to save it? And then I realized I had a place long ago that I did this stuff, prophecies and so forth. And I had so many things that fell on me at this specific time. All of these are quotes that I'm going to go through some of these, but all of these, I have hundreds of them that just fell on me at this specific time. And these aren't cherry-picked. These are ones that just people sent to me saying, you know, after I found all these things. And then the things that I found. And I look through every text. I do the Sumerians, the Muslim texts, the Quran, the Bible, Hesiod, all of them. So anyway, let's look at a couple of these quotes, because when I went to store it here, I saw all the things I had forgotten about. Okay, my friends, this is it. This is, you could call this Roger's righteously religious ramble. How about that? All of these things I had recorded when I discovered the things that I discovered and the sequence of events in which I discovered them. And then I just started copying them down in a text file. Now listen to this. And I looked at everything. Here's the Coburn Bible. I checked that out. The Dragon Rises. This is from the Indian culture, the American Indians. And it says, I'm going to read you a whole batch of this stuff because it's astounding. I forgot all about this, most of it. This goes back 10 years or so ago. The dragon rises. It's prophesied in our instructions that the end of the world will be near when the trees start dying from the tops down. That's what the maples are doing today. Our instructions say, whatever that is, Echkni time will come when there will be no corn, when nothing will grow in the garden. The water will be filthy and unfit to drink. Then a great monster will rise up from the water and destroy mankind. Now that's about from the American Indians. Now, this, I don't know where this came from. It says, some of the Pharisee in the crowd said to him, Teacher, rebuke your disciples. And he said, I tell you, he answered, if they remain silent, the very stones will cry out. Just fell onto my, I never read the Bible. I was never religious at all. Now this is it. Now here, Earth is totally balanced until we came along. We were supposed to help Earth and our mother, not exploit and destroy. God is terribly disappointed and will lash out. And then some quote here, it says, and the 24 elders who sit on their thrones before God fell on their faces, worship God, saying, we give thanks to you, Lord God Almighty, the one who is and who was. You have taken your great power and begun to reign. The nations were enraged, and your wrath has come. The time has come to judge the dead and to reward your servants, the prophets and saints, and those who fear your name. You know, this is something that always kind of bothered me. To fear, you should revere. Although you should fear, because it talks about discipline too, that you're going to get disciplined. Always a father will discipline his children. Anyway, so you fear his name, both small and great, to destroy those who destroy the earth. Now that's Revelations 11:17. Luke 9:25. And who do you benefit if you gain the whole world, but are yourself lost or destroyed? So in other words, you got everything you want, but you're destroyed from within. If anyone is ashamed of me and my message, the Son of Man will be ashamed of that person when he returns in his glory and in the glory of the Father and the holy angels. If you're ashamed to say that you believe in Christ or you think about Christ, you don't be ashamed of anything. Don't be ashamed of anything, but be realistic. This is where I get really upset about people that make all these ridiculous claims and are just nasty about the way they make the claims. And they haven't done any research at all. They read some text that they 100% believe in, and that's the end of it, case closed, and they assault anyone that has any different attitude. Now, I don't assault anybody. You can believe anything you want. But I present the evidence. That's all. That's all I'm here to do is present evidence. Now, let's just keep going. He said to his disciples, anybody who accepts your message is also accepting me, and anyone who rejects you is rejecting me. Anyone who rejects me is rejecting God who sent me. That's Jesus Christ saying this. Here's Titus 1:16. They claim to know God, but by their actions they deny him. They are detestable, disobedient, unfit for doing anything good. I think I know who he's talking about there. John 3:6. No one who remains in union with him keeps on sinning. The one who keeps on sinning hasn't seen him or known him. Little children, don't let anyone deceive you. All right, kids, think. The person who practices righteousness is righteous, just as the Messiah is righteous. The person who practices sin belongs to the evil one. If you keep going on sinning, when you realize you're doing it, you're in trouble. The devil has been sinning from the beginning. The reason that the Son of God was revealed was to destroy what the devil has been doing, still is doing. I look at what's going on today, and I say to myself, how could this happen? How could this become such a denialist society? Anyway, here's Ecclesiastes. For with much wisdom comes much sorrow. The more knowledge, the more grief. Boy, that's a fact. Here's the Quran. Adam was 90 feet tall. It says in Abu Hurairah reported Allah's messenger, may peace be upon him, as saying, Allah, the exalted and glorious, created Adam in his own image with his length of 60 cubits, and as he created him, he told him to greet that group, and that was a party of angels sitting there. And listen to the response that they give him. for it would form his greeting, and what of his offspring. Okay, so all of them would do the same greeting. He then went away and said, peace be upon you. Peace. Peace be upon you. They, the angels, said, may there be peace upon you and the mercy of Allah, who is God. And they made an addition of the mercy of Allah. So he who would get into paradise would get in the form of Adam, his length being 60 cubits. Then the people who followed him continued to diminish in size up to this day. That's the translation of Shahi Muslim, book 040, number 6809. Now, if the home is worthy, let your peace rest on it. If it is not, let your peace return to you and just walk out. And if anyone will not welcome you or heed your words, shake the dust off your feet and just go. Leave that home or town. Truly I tell you, it will be more bearable for Sodom and Gomorrah on the day of judgment than for that town. All right, they just said, get out of here, we don't like you, get lost, and we don't want to hear anything about your silly God and all that stuff. And that's what I have found from universities. Peace is not going to be on them, I can guarantee. And it talks about it here more. Ezekiel, their feet were straight. This is about the feet. Their feet were straight. Rather, each of their legs was a straight leg without any bend in it, as at the knee, but was equally fitted for motion in any direction. So also the sole of their feet, the part which rested on the ground, was not like the human foot, formed to move forward only, but was round and solid, something like the sole of a calf's foot. Then I go on to the dragon in Morocco, the woman and the dragon. Revelations 12:10 talks about her standing on a moon giving birth, which is now quite possible as you see the size of the creatures we're talking about. Here's another one. Whereas you do not know what will happen tomorrow, for what is your life? It is even a vapor that appears for a little time and then vanishes away. I don't think anybody gets out alive. That's been my saying. Nobody gets out alive. Here's rods of iron. This one here kind of disturbs me. I can't understand it. It says, and to the one who is victorious and continues in my work until the end, I will give authority over the nations. He will rule them with an iron scepter. Boy, that sounds pretty harsh. And shatter them like pottery, just as I have received authority from my Father. And I will give him the morning star. That's supposed to be Venus, I believe. These are things that are all up in the air. I need help to understand this. I need help. All right. Then I go Enki. I don't just stick at one book or this or that. I do the Nag Hammadis, the Dead Sea Scrolls, all of them. Now this is what I wrote today. I can only recommend, and this is what I recommend. Think truthfully and for yourself. What's in front of your eyes, do not dismiss. I told you all about this, and here's this thing. Luke 19:40, here it is right here. And as he approached the descent, this is Jesus, from the Mount of Olives, the whole multitude of disciples began to praise God joyfully. They're screaming, oh, he's coming in the name of the Lord, in a loud voice, for all the miracles they had seen. Blessed is the King who comes in the name of the Lord, which is Jesus. And they saw him as coming as a king. That wasn't going to be accepted. Peace in heaven. Peace. Peace. And glory in the highest. But some of the Pharisees, these are the preachers, the religious monarchs, some of the Pharisees in the crowd said to him, Teacher, rebuke your disciples. And Jesus said, I tell you, he answered, if they remain silent, the very stones will cry out. That was one of the first things that popped up. And I don't know all of this just popped off to me. Here's Corinthians 1:26. Brothers, consider the time of your calling. Not many of you were wise by human standards. Not many were powerful. Not many were noble of birth. God chose the foolish things of the world to shame the wise. He chose the weak things of the world to shame the strong. He chose the lowly and despised and the things that are not to nullify the things that are. Now that somewhere in here I wrote that could be my resume. I was not taken well from anybody when I started saying, look at what I found. Look at all these things are all mud fossils, and there's giants here. And then I found a dragon also, and I was just led to this stuff. I'm telling you right now. It started out, I'm just going to tell you what happened. I woke up one morning, I said to my wife, there's something in the woods calling my name. Eventually I found the giants, and nobody would listen. So I had them DNA tested. I had them CAT scanned, the pieces. Did all the work, which I was told you have to do this before we'll even look at them by Yale University. They would not even look at them. So I had it all done. I had all the DNA tests done, the CAT scans, the chemistry worked out, the whole 9 yards. And I have all these in my hands. And they still refuse to see him to today. And this is all written about here in these texts today. This is Yale University, Harvard. Absolute 100% refusal to examine, which is academic fraud. I mean, if they could see it as any other way, I'd like to understand why. If I do the DNA tests and have the specimens, and they are the ones that are supposed to examine evidence. And I mean, I had interchanges with them for years, back and forth for years. They just refused. No, we won't look at them. Nope, refused to do it. So, what do you take from that? I'll show you what you can take from it. All right, just listen to this. They claim to know God, but by their actions they deny Him. They are detestable, disobedient, unfit for doing anything good. You go to a university and start talking about God, which I did, or I said these things were all written about. Boom. You're done. Case closed. You're an idiot. I mean, I was really, literally assaulted in that manner. You're a creationist, a tinfoil hat guy. You don't even have any clue about reality. All of the stuff you did has to be fake or something. We're not going to look at it. We have no interest in you whatsoever because I talked about God. And here it says here, I have no greater joy than to hear that my children walk in truth. 3 John 1:4. I will not conceal his parts, nor his power, nor his comely proportions. This is where they're talking about Typhon, the dragon. Now listen to this. 2 Peter 2:3. In their greed, these false teachers, these false professors, these false universities will exploit you and put you in debt for the rest of your life, making you a servant. They will exploit you with tales they have concocted and lies and fraud. The long-standing verdict against them remains in force, and their destruction does not sleep. That is not good. All right, their destruction does not sleep. Here's another one. Certain individuals whose condemnation was written about long ago have secretly slipped in among you. They are ungodly people who pervert the grace of our God into a license for immorality and deny Jesus Christ, our only sovereign and Lord. Oh, this is where I put in this could be my resume. I was despised, absolutely despised by everybody. And I mean everybody. I'm talking about in my own family for making these statements and coming up with this information. Now it's completely turned. But the ones that are so hard against this, they will never turn. There's nothing can be done with those people. They will be ones, they will be washed from history, I would think. That's all I can see. Now, I don't know what their end result will be. It could be horrifyingly terrible. Or it could just be that they just no longer exist. But it's going to be one or the other. Here's more. Listen to this. Do not presume to say to yourselves, we have Abraham as our father, for I tell you that out of these stones God can raise up children for Abraham. Here's another one, John 15. The world hates disciples. If the world hates you, keep in mind that it hated me first. Obviously, this is Jesus talking. If you belong to the world, it would love you as its own. That's if you just accept everything they tell you. As it is, you do not belong to the world. But I have chosen you out of the world. That is why the world hates you. Remember what I told you. A servant is not greater than his master. If they persecuted me, they will persecute you also. if they obeyed my teaching, they will obey yours also. So he had good guys, and other ones that come later will have good guys and they'll have bad guys. So I have some good guys, I have some bad guys. They'll treat you this way because of my name, for they do not know the one who sent me. If I had not come and spoken to them, they would not be guilty of sin. So they were sinless until they realized they were sinning. That's like the tree of good and evil. But now they have no excuse for their sins. They have been, all of this stuff has been put out to these universities. And as far as I'm considering, they are sinning right now. They are the biggest sinners on the face of the planet, deceiving humanity. Deceiving, not just it's accidental or they're just incompetent. They are frauds, liars, and deceiving. I have so much information, it cannot be denied. The only response can be it's fraud and suppression of the evidence that shows that they're wrong. All right? So it says, they have no excuse for their sin now. Whoever hates me hates my Father as well. And that's in the universities, you cannot speak about religion or you are done. If I had not done among them the works no one else did, who was Jesus, they would not be guilty of sin. As it is, they have seen, and yet they have hated both me and my Father. But this is to fulfill what is written in their law. They hated me without reason.